won that game?
No, never happens. Seen it all before. They come, they get a bit giddy, they have opportunities.
Who are you talking about, West Ham in particular?
Loads of teams, not just West Ham, the Spurses of this world. They come to Old Trafford, they have a little bit of possession, 1 or 2 chances, they're all excited, and they're getting applauded, they end up getting beaten. Defensively, West Ham was shocking. Absolutely useless.
With a big shout, a lot of people will
Come and
duck,
take people out.
Yes.
Come with violence. That's your job.
Yeah. Have Manchester United got away with it this evening?
Yeah, they have. Well, they've earned the right. We said at half-time, the managers took a huge gamble with making all the changes. It looked like it was going to backfire, but they sorted themselves out, made 1 or 2 changes. They upped the pace. They started doing what they're good at. Quick passes, better delivery, more runners, more movement off the ball. Contribution again from players off the bench, good delivery on set pieces. 3-1, comfortable at the end.
A long trip and a long night for Roy Keane's Ipswich, who are pushed all the way by League One Exeter. All 5 goals in this one arrived after the interval. Ryan Harley following up Saturday's goal against Colchester with the opener here. Keane used this game as an opportunity to give some of his youngsters a chance. One of them came up with the equaliser. 18-year-old Ronan Murray with a superb debut goal just after the hour. The Ipswich boss celebrating his 39th birthday saw his side move ahead 10 minutes later, thanks to one of his more experienced pros. Goals have been hard to come by for David Norris in recent seasons, but his first in 16 months was one to savour. But the Grecians had other ideas. That man Harley on target again with an 81st minute blockbuster to force the extra period. But the birthday boss's night was made all the more happier when Norris was able to eventually tap home the winner for Ipswich. And you never know, Roy might have even managed to smile after this.
Crystal Palace met Ipswich at Selhurst Park on the...
2 former Nottingham Forest teammates faced off at Portman Road, with Brian Laws and Roy Keane both looking to build on impressive opening day wins. It was the away side that could have taken the lead early on. When Ross Wallace set up Wade Elliott, he looked destined to score, but if you watch closely, Martin Phillip uses his head to keep the ball out. Unorthodox, but it will do. Keane handed a start to Tottenham loan signing Andros Townsend, and the youngster was one of Ipswich's outstanding performers, creating this chance for Jonathan Stead after the Burnley defender's comical attempts to clear. The game looked to have turned in the second half after David Edgar crudely stopped an Ipswich break. Edgar knew what was coming as he'd already been booked. Burnley were forced to play the final 10 minutes with 10 men. Ipswich made that numerical advantage count with 4 minutes to go. Burnley a touch soft at the back here. David Norris with a nice bit of improvisation. The hosts on course for all 3 points and their best start to a league campaign in 8 years. But there was more drama to follow when in stoppage time Graham Alexander's corner was somehow turned in by Clark Carlisle to steal a point for Brian Law's side. A result then that Keane refused to blame on the ongoing situation with Jonathan Walters.
Obviously the distraction of John Walters as well. Has that been a distraction?
No, absolutely none whatsoever. Why would that be a distraction? I find that all very, very strange.
Well, it's funny because I was writing in my report that it was almost like a vindication, because there goes David Norris, your new captain, and he goes and scores. And
yeah, and obviously that's long may it continue.
George Burley spent almost 8 years in charge at Portman Road. His old club in no mood for sentimentality though, as they began brightly. Carlos Edwards should really have opened the scoring. With the game finally balanced, it took a dramatic turn just after the break. Claude Davis pulling down John Stead in the box. Penalty. And the big defender seeing red. Palace down to 10. Grant Ledbetter stepped up and made no mistake. 1-0, an uphill battle for the hosts. Palace had barely begun to reshuffle when Ipswich made the one-man advantage pay. Edwards with the finish this time, and Town seemed to have pooped the Palace party. There was more drama in store. Ipswich too would fail to finish with 11 men. Tottenham loanee Andros Townsend having a moment of madness with this crazy challenge on Palace goalkeeper Julian Speroni. The referee had no choice but to give Townsend his marching orders. Let's back down to earth with a bump, and Ipswich maintained their impressive start.
Roy Keane refused to take the bait this week when criticised by former Ipswich captain John Walters, preferring to concentrate on the job in hand, the visit of Barnsley to Portman Road. Town were beaten at home by Derby during the week, but almost made a flying start. Luke Steele with the slightest of touches to deflect Hamash Priskin's effort onto the bar. The Tykes finally won away from home during the week at Preston, the first time this season, and they took the lead thanks to Goran Lovra here, the Serbian's first goal for the club. But in Adam Hamill, Barnsley have one of the most exciting attacking players in the Championship. He'll get all the credit for his side's second. Goalkeeper Martin Fullett will get the unwanted goal credit. And with just one win in 15 away games, Barnsley couldn't believe their luck when Gary O'Connor waltzed through a non-existent Ipswich defence, 3-0. Not much seems to faze Roy Keane, but he might have been concerned to hear Ipswich fans ironically cheering every Barnsley pass towards the end of the game. Tommy Smith's late header provided scant consolation. 3-1 it finished.
It's tough at the moment because I think particularly we deserve better than what we're getting, and I think the players deserve better than that, and I really can't fault my players today. I thought they had a good goal, and sometimes things are out of your control, like decisions which we can't do much about.
And people are going to ask me to ask you, are you going to stay on?
I refuse to answer that question.
We'll take it as a yes then.
Take it whatever you want.
Angry with referee Stuart Atwell for allowing their game at Ipswich to go ahead in blizzard-like conditions. The weather worsened after the break and the referee had to take the players off, but the game resumed and Ipswich ran out 3-0 winners.
Praised for completing the game, criticised for starting it in the first place. Man in the middle, Stuart Atwell, at the centre of controversy once more. The ref's first big decision of the day, whether or not to kick off in heavy snow at Portman Road. He was happy to play, so were Ipswich. Just 6 minutes gone when captain David Norris put them 1-up. As the weather worsened, new high-visibility balls were called for. So Leicester keeper Chris Kirkland was able to see Jason Scotland's shot. He just couldn't stop it. And he was beaten again shortly before half-time. Scotland again. Ipswich 3-up at the break, which was extended to enable the pitch to be cleared. But the snow was still falling. Shortly after the restart, referee Atwell had another decision to make. We all know what this is going to be about. With his team in front, Ipswich boss Roy Keane understandably wanted to see this one through. Leicester took a different view. After heated debate, Atwell made his call. After more sterling work from the ground staff, they did 17 minutes later to complete the game in conditions that Sven-Göran Eriksson said were only good for skiing. Though Roy Keane was happy enough.
A risky moment for Nottingham Forest and almost a golden moment for David Norris. Just over the top. Forest not necessarily living on their nerves at the moment, but certainly they're living on a solid, resilient defensive performance. Oh, now the ball was there to be won there, and the challenge from Ledbetter was a little over the top. Watch here, does he get the ball first? Yes, but then he follows through. And what card will this be? It's from the back pocket, which indicates it's a red for Grant Ledbetter. And that red card is the signal for hundreds upon hundreds of Ipswich fans to leave.
Setbacks in games, you got to deal with it. And again, I thought the efforts and commitment of the players was outstanding.